Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Eagles Inside podcast.
This is a podcast where we dive deeper into our school community and highlight the stories, ideas, and people making a difference around us.
Today, we're so excited to have very special guests with us, the leaders of Junecrest MUN, Mr. Mitzel and Mrs. Abdala.
Our first guest is an amazing teacher leading our Model United Nations program, who teaches humanities and IB global politics, as well as advising the IB extended essay. Ms. Abdala brings a deep understanding of world issues into every discussion and helps students connect classroom learning to global affairs. Her passion for MUN inspires students to think like real diplomats and leaders.
Our second guest is another amazing teacher leading our Model United Nations program. Mr. Mitzel is a math teacher at Junecrest who also plays a huge role in guiding students through MUN. His support helps students build confidence, think critically, and take on global challenges. Ms. Abdallah, for students who never heard of MUN before, what exactly is it and what do students do at conferences?
Alright, so MUN stands for Model United Nations, which is after the United Nations organization, which is the organization that is made of countries, and these countries debate current topics. So it can go from economic, health, educational, environmental, even war. And what we try to do in MUN is try to simulate these discussions that they have in real life, so the students are able to put into practice or even think a little bit outside the box of how the real world works in different topics, in those different topics as well.
Oh, that sounds really interesting.
Very amazing. Mitzel, what skills do students develop through MUN that can help them both in school and in their future careers?
Well, there's a lot of soft skills involved with MUN, which is why I like it, because I like to see the students develop skills such as communication, critical thinking, being able to debate a topic they may or may not be passionate about, but still be able to debate it with skill and with good vibes. Okay, so like I feel like the skills for the future, because knowledge is going to be so easy to obtain. It's how we synthesize that knowledge and how we turn it into communication with others. So that's what MUN does.
So it's really important because students will need these skills later on in life, which brings me to my next point. What makes a great delegate? What qualities do you look for in MUN members?
Do you want to? Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah.
I guess, do you want both of our opinions? So a delegate has to be somebody that can work hard by themselves. So they get the issues presented to them, and then they have to be able to research and synthesize information without much guidance. So we do give guidance, but they have to be able to work independently.
Yeah. You know, what I think it's the best thing about MUN is that anyone can be at MUN. It doesn't matter if you're like crazy academic or if you're shy. Like MUN is for everyone for two reasons. First of all, it has a structure. So we have rules and guidelines for the debate. So for those who are a little bit more shy, they have the space to speak, where when we just let people that speak all the time speak, sometimes they overpower other people. So the United Nations has that, MUN has that opportunity. And also, for those who are not that academic but like to debate just for the sake of debating, they end up studying a little bit more topics that usually they wouldn't. So I think that we don't look for things in a delegate. I think the delegate has to come up and exist. I think everyone is welcome in MUN. I don't think that we ever said no to any student, because everyone has different tools and skills and even personalities that MUN is great for it. So everyone is welcome.
Okay, that's very interesting. And can you share a memorable or funny moment from a past MUN conference?
Yeah, I can. I guess I can start with one. We were so we went to an MUN conference in Guangzhou with my other school that I was the director of, and it turned out we ended up having to deal with a COVID situation. So they had to bring COVID testers to the school because all the students traveled and all the students were excited because we were kind of in a mini lockdown. So they were excited to see students from other places. And I just remember when we got stuck and it was kind of crazy, but we were all a team and we all bonded together and still managed to have some fun in spite of all that, because it's a MUN becomes kind of a family in a way where you're helping each other and you help younger delegates and you represent your whole school and when you go to these conferences. And so it made it kind of fun to see everybody bond as that team in spite of the struggle of this COVID incident. So that was a cool experience.
I am an MUN addict. I've been doing MUN this year for 25 years. So since I was a high schooler, I was doing MUN. So I'm gonna share two stories. The first one is as a student. It was my last one actually after my master's degree, because you still have MUN in university if you want to do it. I was representing Saudi Arabia during ISIS conflict. So the Islamic State was going on in the Middle East, and I was representing Saudi, and then I had to it was like a crisis committee, and then I had to kind of negotiate with tribes and kind of think of the structure almost like a risk game. So that to me was very funny because it was super out of the box without any type of like controlled argument. It was just more of a game, and I think that was interesting to finalize. It was the last time I was a delegate. And the second one, I think that as a teacher I've seen many kids and students, right, change their mindsets and what they want to be and become because of MUN. And on my first school teaching, I met this student who was kind of shy, but his family had no money for him to go to conferences because usually conferences are paid, right? And I went to the head of school and I said, we have to give this boy a scholarship, like we have to. And then he was fantastic. He won Best Delegate Award. He was like the best of the best. And now he has a full-on scholarship in a university in California, where the university, he does like 1 year in California. He just did his second year in Japan. Now he just moved to China for his third year. So it is life-changing to see what MUN can do. And it was because of that. And he talked about not only me, but also like other teachers, like in a TV news, because of how it changed his life. So I love MUN for that.
Thank you for sharing, because this can actually help people realize not everything has to be so serious all the time, which connects to the next question. Many students might be nervous about joining. What would you say to someone who is interested but doesn't think they're confident enough?
I think I said it before, right? It doesn't matter if you're shy or you're not confident, because MUN gives you the structure. So when you start, usually you're going to be in a committee where there is a little bit more structure. So you're going to be taught how to do an opening speech, how to write a resolution, the guidelines, how to behave. But one thing that I love about MUN also is that it sounds like gibberish almost in the beginning. What is a motion? What is a point? What is a resolution, right? And then after half an hour in a room, it's set, it's done. So people become more comfortable talking. So I think that you have to try. Of course, not everything's for everyone, but if you try, maybe you're gonna love it. So everyone is welcomed.
Yeah. Oh, you want me? Okay, I can comment. No, I can comment on that. Yeah. That's okay. So it's from going back to the point where it's a family, is when you are in the room, it's very student led. So the chairs are always helping the delegates to go along. Now, sometimes the chairs might give some tough love or whatnot, but the chairs, especially when you do the mock MUNs or the ones on campus, the chairs will really help you to get in the zone of MUN. But once you figure it out, it's really fun and pretty cool, because I think one of the biggest things that teenagers love to do is debate. I don't know if that's like why did you give me this point instead of this point? What happened here? And what MUN does is it allows you to fine tune those skills. So you come and you're like, I think that I should deserve more points because I made this point on my paper. Look, instead of like, I think you should give me more points because of this. So it helps you to get those skills in a good way, and I think people start to like it after a while. It does start to become kind of into something. Like, I'm a math guy, but I still like the intricate value of MUN. It's very systematic. It's presented in a way everybody gets a chance to share. And then after a while, you're just in it and you're in the zone, and the system works, and it's just a good deal. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. This does connect to the next question, which is, how does MUN help students understand real-world issues and global events differently from what they learn in class?
I think Miss Moreno, because Miss Morena's good with this because she teaches a lot of the things that are brought up in MUN. So I'm gonna tag her on this.
I think that my answer would have been different 3 months ago than it is today because of the conflict that we've been through. So I think that MUN is very cool because, as I said, it sounds almost like a game. Like you're trying to negotiate, you argue, you have a goal, and then you're representing a country, and that country kind of connects with another country. So if you're representing Russia, of course you're not going to be ally to the US. You know, like if you're China, you're not going to be aligned with whatever, again, the US. But one thing that I think it's cool is that in MUN you have to represent the country and the foreign policy of that country, of how it is at that moment. So if I'm going to be the delegate of the United States, I have to act as someone from the Trump cabinet would act. It's his foreign policy, right? Not what I believe is right. It's what he believes is right. The second thing also is, for example, if I am France, I have to act as President Macron acts within the European Union and internationally. So it gives empathy, okay? And also it makes us understand more what's going on in the world. Like, oh, why did China react the way they did? Because there is a mindset behind it, okay? But I will say that my answer is different than 3 months ago, because usually in MUN we have something at a point in time where we have crisis, which means that the committees will be shut down, something happened from the outside world, and then the committee has to solve this crisis that suddenly happened. And it was like a game, it was fun. We're like, oh, we have to solve a crisis. And 3 months ago, we went through a big crisis. And we're still going through some of the crisis. So now, if I have a Security Council committee, and I say that a bomb was hit in the Emirates, the way that we react is different, I think, than we would 3 months ago. It's not a game anymore because we all lived through that. So I think it gives us empathy. I think it helps us to see the world. The world is not so black and white. I think that's what MUN helps us see. Like, we start having empathy for those that suddenly we don't have as much empathy. And then we also are able to see beyond just politics. We see how countries think, how they react, and their movement all over.
That was such a great evaluation. This is kind of out of context, but what are you guys most excited about for this year's MUN season? And why should students consider joining?
Maybe we should actually answer what was the best thing about this year, and then maybe what we look forward to. Is that okay?
Yes, of course.
I think that the best, the one thing that happened during this season was there was a change in leadership. Mr. Galvanis, who was an excellent advisor, great teacher, and built the program from scratch, left. And so what we had to do was we had to build a team based on this the new way to look at things. So every director kind of has a way to look at things, and so. But eventually, towards the end, I think the best thing was we did come together as a team of MUN. We had a lot of people that were scheduled to go to London with us.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the London trip fell through. But we're looking forward to doing these things more with MUN, where it's we're going to go international to these big conventions, because you're really going to see what you're made of. Because we stay in Dubai, it's kind of people have views here, but if you go to London, you're going to have a lot of different views from a lot of different places.
Yeah.
So
I think to me the highlight was the external conference in November, I think. We had a good amount of people, but I think that we can improve that next year. But I'm very thankful about the grade 12s that just graduated. They loved MUN. They have done MUN for 4 or 5 years since the program have started. But I love seeing student agency. To me, the highlight is that we have a good leadership of students, and we have students engaged in debate, and that makes not our lives easier, but it engages everyone else. So that's, to me, is the highlight. I think the conference was very good, was very interesting, and also to see new faces, especially from grade 9s arriving, right? And hopefully we're gonna be able to get earlier the grade 8s that are joining grade 9. So you guys, I know the grade 8. So I think recruiting new people for the club will be fantastic. And hopefully we're gonna have the international conference. And also I am organizing with other MUN directors around Dubai. We're going to do an yearly schedule, almost like the sports season, where we know every game that will happen. We're gonna know which conferences will exist, so we can be a little bit more active throughout Dubai and internationally as well.
Thank you for sharing that. Gratitude is a huge value in our school community, and in our daily lives we often take things for granted and don't always pause to appreciate them. What are 3 things you're grateful for?
Ooh.
yeah, it's just in general or for MUN?
Yeah, in general.
In general.
It's the topic of our podcast.
That's deep.
That is deep. Well, I mean, I'm grateful every day for my friends, for higher power, for getting an opportunity to work with young people and see them grow. I'm grateful for my wife, who's also a teacher here, and I'm also grateful sometimes for students that bake some cakes for me and try and get me a little fatten me up a little bit. And my belt's
He got
a
cake?
little bit. Yeah, there was Layla actually. Layla and was it Valeria and Ziad baked Miss Tucker a cake, and she was kind enough to share it with me.
That's so
So I was very grateful about that. Yes.
That's so
And it was so we still have some at home. So it was the cake that was probably the size of this desk.
No, it's an exaggeration.
It was a pretty large cake, and so we still had some left over.
So
Not as big as that is an exaggeration, but you have to admit it was pretty big.
Yeah.
I'm super thankful for being alive and healthy. Sure. And I'm thankful for my husband as well. He keeps me sane. And even when the grade 9s make me crazy, he helps. I'm just kidding. No, but I'm super thankful for the school also. I think that I'm super grateful to be in a school that allows me to share the best qualities and the best skills that I have. MUN is one of them. And just getting to have students that are willing to grow and learn. I think this is a privilege. As Mr. said, working with young people keeps us young, we are on track, and it makes us feel more alive, to be honest. So I'm extremely thankful for that.
Good question.
I know.
Wow.
Deep.
Good answers. Thank you.
What are you grateful for, Mansour?
I'm grateful for everything.
Oh, you got to say specific things.
No, I'm
3 things.
3 things. I'm grateful
Your brother
for
Yusuf.
my family, of course.
Yes.
The opportunity I have, and my friends. That's 3.
All right.
Great answer.
You can't
What
be
about you,
left
Layla?
out. Yeah.
I would say, obviously, my family, the opportunities I have, it's almost the same thing. Like being able to go to school and everything. It's such a, what do you call them?
Privilege.
Privilege. It's such a privilege. And I'm grateful that I... Friends, everything. It's, yes.
Thank you so much, Ms. Abdala and Mr. Mitzel, for joining us today. And thank you to everyone listening to the Eagles Insights podcast.
Where we soar above the surface to bring you deeper insights and take a closer look at the stories around us. See you next time.